All right, listen, I want to bring this up. Blue Monday, it's a tough time for many, many people, obviously, although some say, you know what, it's just another day on the calendar, but it is officially today, Blue Monday. So I found it interesting, came across this article that I thought might be worth kind of addressing, especially on a day like today. It talks about the fact that many of us chase happiness, but this chase can lead us to feel dissatisfied with life, like, there should be something more. Our next guest, Stephen Bruyant-Langer, is an executive coach and leadership expert. He's also the author of a book called The Existential Playbook, How to Survive, Live, and Thrive, which looks at why so many people feel dissatisfied with life, and offering some advice on how to overcome it. He is on the line. Stephen, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Aaron.
I should mention, we're reaching you in Denmark. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh, that's wonderful.
In Denmark, yes.
Welcome. So let's talk about, I mentioned today is Blue Monday, and for a lot of people, it's a rather depressing day, whether it's about the fact that, your New Year's resolutions did not happen and won't yet again. You address some real issues here, and I find it fascinating because when you talk about something as general or as vague as chasing happiness, we all want to be happy. So why is this a concern?
Well, first of all, there's some models that you can put up, and I did so in my book, The Existential Playbook. I've been working for, 30 years now as an executive coach, working with high achievers, people who want to make something out of their life. And in this context, I've come across a lot of existentialist thinking, thinking about getting meaning into your life. And there's one existentialist philosopher who's especially interesting in this context. And Aaron, please stop me if this becomes a sort of a lecturer, because I'm fascinated by the theory, but we need to get some practice into it also, right?
No, please, so go ahead.
Okay, so Hannah Arendt, H-A-N-N-A-H, and then Arendt is a German philosopher, but moved to the U.S. and was a U.S. national. And she has worked with three concepts called labor, work, and action. And these concepts actually totally align with what I've had in my book, the Survive, Live, and Thrive. So what she calls labor, I call survival. What she calls work, I call live or life. And what she calls action, I call thrive. And it probably means a bit necessary to explain a bit more. We all know it in our daily life. If it becomes too intellectual, too much thinking, then we need to do something practical. And for example, mowing the lawn, right? So if we mow the lawn, it's repetitive. It's nice because you don't have to think that much, and you have to do it again. But it's what we call the body work, right? And that corresponds to survival. However, at some point we also need to create things. We need to do things with our hands and enjoying both the process and the product. And that is what I call living, and she calls work. And then we have also to think about things and to give back and to participate in the community and the world. And the essence of all this, chasing happiness, as you started by asking, the essence is to have a balance in this. And it doesn't mean that you have to have 1/3 of body work and 1/3 of hand work, or 1/3 of soul work or mind work, but you need to have a balance. And Aaron, you probably feel it also from time to time, when you've been too busy, too much thinking, too much talking, then, you need to do something different. I just came back from a run in the woods, and the fact of running is also simply body work. You don't need to think that much. You sort of get out of your usual sphere. Mm-hmm. So it's the alternatives, and that is what I would call one of the secrets of living a good life, as the Greeks said, or thriving in general, and that is happiness. If you get a balance in your life.
It's interesting as I hear you say this, and I'm sure for some people, they've probably heard these kinds of things before about that balance. It's a word that's become very popular these days. Yeah. You also mentioned, though, it's important to recognize a balance or an imbalance, right? It's not just enough to say, I know I should do these particular things because they're good for me. You have to recognize that you're not doing them.
Exactly. And you need also to be able to decipher the signals that you have. It could be impatience or frustration or nervousness or also stress. It could be different, let's say, signals that come to you, and you need to be able to find out, what is out of balance and what can I do. For example, mentioning again from a practical point of view, the having a run in the woods or going out would break a sort of feeling of isolation or being only in your head. It's important that you find your personal ways of getting out of a state which you might describe as unhappy or frustrated.
All right. So given that, and now here you are at the beginning of the year, I brought up sort of, New Year's resolutions that one makes, which typically might involve some of these different things to recognize that you're not doing, that you want to do more of. I would think as well, I mentioned, it's Blue Monday, so people 3 weeks into the year may have now said, well, I tried again, it's not going to work. How do you get back on track?
Well, you simply focus and you prioritize. There's no other way than focusing on the task at hand. It takes a lot of time to do something that you're not working on. So you simply need to have it top of mind and also not hitting yourself on the head. If it's not working and if you are not able to find the motivation to change your habit, then it might not be important enough for you. And again, it's totally up to you, Aaron. It's not up to other people to judge. It's your own personal decisions, and you need to take, to make a choice and to take action and take responsibility for that.
Yeah, taking responsibility is a big one, isn't it? All right. The book is called, for people who do want to check it out, The Existential Playbook, How to Survive, Live, and Thrive. The author, Stephen Bruyant-Langer, who we've been speaking to now. Thank you so much for your time today, and enjoy your run in the woods.